Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Chris with Digital Realm. Welcome back. This is another lesson of how to get started in Blender for beginners. And pretty much, let me just pop the title up. So, Blender, how to navigate around your 3D scene. So, essentially, your mouse interactions and how to move your camera around your 3D objects. We're going to cover three main things here. So, the first thing we're going to cover, as I kind of alluded to before, is how to move around your 3D scene. The second thing we're going to cover are viewing options, so the different options that are available in viewing your 3D scene. And the third thing we're going to cover is how to change your navigation settings. So if you come from a different 3D software package and you're used to a different type of interaction, how to change your interaction to be more familiar to your workflow. So to keep it simple, I'm just going to hop right into it and we can just get it started. Alright, so here we go. We have our Blender scene open here and we're just going to go ahead and navigate. This is usually how your Blender scene would default unless you set it to default differently. But as a beginner, I doubt you set it to default differently. So I'm just going to show you how to navigate around the scene now that you have it open. So first things first, because we are all used to the middle of the left click, because that's just to select things even on the internet, how to select things. And it's similar here. If you left click, you select objects or select things in the scene, items in the scene. And as you see, as I select items, they're highlighted here in the outliner, and this outliner includes everything that's in your scene. So we have a camera, we have a light, and we have a cube, and the cube is currently selected. So then you might be thinking, how do I rotate around this cube, or how do I interact with this cube where I can see what's on the other side? Well, that's where the middle mouse button becomes very valuable. Middle mouse button is pretty much the key to viewing anything. So middle mouse button being, if you roll the middle mouse button, so rolling it like you're scrolling down a page, you will zoom in and out just like that. So, and it's whatever you have selected. If you have this, whatever the focus is selected, it'll roll in and roll, or zoom in and zoom out towards that thing. If you click the middle mouse button and then drag, while you're holding down the middle mouse button and then move your mouse around, you'll rotate around the object. Practice that. But you'll rotate around the object just like that. If you click the middle mouse button and hold shift, or hold shift then click the middle mouse button, you pan, and then pan being moving left to right, directly left to right. So you'll be able to pan like this. It doesn't include rotating. So you'll pan straight left to right. Let's go in the front of this. You can pan left to right just like that. And then you can see all of these similar options here. So zoom, move. This is the toggle to camera view, but move is pan. So on these options here, if you left click and while holding down left click, move your mouse, you're gonna zoom. Holding out left click and move your mouse, you're gonna pan. And then if you go up to this big one where it has all the XYZ axis, and you select anything in this like highlighted area and left click and then move your mouse around, you're gonna rotate around the object. And then also you can select if you want to view something straight from the Z axis, from the X axis, or from the Y axis. And then you can also flip it on the other side. So just like that. And that's how you would get the orthographic view. Pretty much this is my day-to-day interaction, but I'm also going to show you how other ways you can see these interactions. Because one thing I do like to do is show you where to find these things in a menu, because not all, just like when I was coming from Maya, not all 3D packages are the same, but they do have menus that will allow you to do the same things. You just have to find the menus and find where what the interactions are for that package. So with that being said, I showed you that. But you can go over here to view, and view is where you'll find all your viewing options. So you can go over here to view, and again, you can frame select it. So that's gonna, whatever you have selected, it's gonna frame it or focus on it. Like that. And then view, another thing you can do is go to area and then toggle quad view. And this is great for if you're modeling an object and you want to see multiple viewing angles so you can see what it looks like. And I'm doing the middle mouse scroll, and it zooms up like that. And then you still have the perspective view here where you can move around the scene like that. Okay, we're gonna go back to view again. And I highly suggest you just pretty much get familiar with this area here. Get familiar with how to view and click these things and see what it what it does. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this area off and toggle the quad view off. And for this is a rule of thumb, but for any menu option, if you look right to the right side, you can see what the shortcut key is for that menu option. So again, allowing you to find out where it is on the menu, but then once you find out where it is on the menu, you have a quick reference to how to do it with a hotkey. So, okay, one more thing I want to show you is also how to view your scene through your camera, because how we're viewing it now is just the orthographic yeah, I guess it's the orthographic view, but it's not the render camera. So if you try to render this scene, it's not going to be from the angle that we're looking at it from now. It's going to be from the angle of this camera here. Well, any artist, that would be, at least for me, that was well, how do I move that camera and how can I see from that camera's point of view? Well, that's how you would do that. Go ahead and select that camera, and you can hit view, and then go down to cameras, and then select active camera. And you can see the shortcut is number pad 0. So, and it shows you the camera's view. So this is how the camera is going to look at it. So let's say this for example, this is your monitor. It's going to show what's inside of this yellow area, and it's not going to show what's outside of this yellow area. So one of the hiccups I was running into with Blender when I was new to Blender is, okay, now that I know how to view from the angle or from the render camera, how can I move the render camera so I can set my view or set my camera angle? Because when I try to rotate out, it pops out of the camera where I can't rotate it. Well, what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna do a numpad 0 to get back to where we were, but for a quick reference, from now on, you go to view, cameras, active camera. And again, I hit numpad 0. So when I hit numpad 0 when we get here, you know how I got here. So view active camera under the view menu. So now that we're back at the camera, what you want to do is set this scene as far out as you can. So get as much room on your monitor as you can. And then what you want to do is go to this little arrow on the right side and hit the little arrow right there, and you'll see these tabs pop up. And under these tabs, there's a view tab, and you want to go ahead and select that view tab. And then once you select that view tab, I don't know if this will be closed, but it's just similar to the view over here. Once you select that view tab, you can select the camera to view or toggle this on. And once you select the camera to view, now when you rotate your scene and focus on objects, I'm gonna hit N to get rid of this, and N is the hotkey to get this menu bar over here. So N. So, and now you can rotate around your view with your camera. So you can set your camera, like, say I want to render here, or I want to render it like this. this is what my render view will look like. So when I do render this, the image that will rendering being the image that is going to be created is going to be at this angle, you know, with this camera. And then you can go back into regular view, and now you see our cameras change positions to right there. But we can still go back in here and model the object and give it a little more detail. So let's say I'm gonna just do something just to do something right now. Just move those over like this, make this object a little weird looking, so you can just see the different camera angle. And then I'm gonna go back to the camera angle, and you can see how the camera angle is different. All right. So that's essentially how you would move your camera, your render camera, to where you want it to be, but then also how to navigate your scene. Okay, one more thing that I do want to cover for all the artists who are getting into Blender. They probably use a different 3D package before, but the interaction was a little different, where you want to kind of emulate or simulate the kind of interaction you had with a different 3D package, which is what I did coming from a Maya background. What you want to do is go up to Edit, Preferences. Once you go to Edit Preferences, you can go into, like, honestly, you could go into all of these settings and change anything you want in Blender. Really just customize it really to the max, however you really want in Blender. But for the purpose of just editing and things like that, we're gonna do like input. So input being one of the main things of your interaction. So if I left click, what happens? If I right click, what happens? So on and so forth. If I hit a certain button, what happens? So my current settings are emulate a number pad, which again, emulating the number pad, just like when we did the toggle to the camera view, and it was like push control or shift 0, or use the number pad 0. I'm on a laptop and I don't have a number pad, so I can emulate my number pad by just hitting 0, because I only have the numbers at the top of my laptop keyboard. Again, emulate a three button mouse. That's what we're doing. We have a 3-button mouse, and we're going to emulate a 3-button mouse. Continuous grab. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but again, these are options you just kind of toggle on and get it to where you like. I'm gonna go to navigation. So navigation being how we rotate around, how we move around the scene. So I have it at turntable. So when I select the object, it pretty much treats it like a turntable. It rotates around that object. Orbit around selection is very important. Zoom to mouse position, I'm gonna put that on there because that should be on there. That's one of the things I definitely keep. Walk, when you see this walk and fly, this is one of the things, like if you were to try to navigate a scene, and you can use the arrow keys to navigate like as if you're walking in a video game or something like that, so you can view things easier. Fly, you're able to move a lot faster, but again, is a lot faster. For bigger scenes, you might go into walls or things like that, and it'll make sense later on. I don't really want to confuse you right now, but this is also a major settings or preference settings that I used when converting from Maya. Key maps, very important. So when I first got into Blender, it was the right mouse button to select things. Now and then you can toggle it to where it's left mouse button to select things, but now it kind of comes default that way. Spacebar being, if I hit the spacebar, it'll start to play the timeline or play the animation or whatever I have. And again, you go down these settings. One of the things that I did change, one of the most important things that I did change, was how we did the view selected or focus on the selected object. I'm used to hitting F and it will focus on the selected object. That's just how I was taught, and that's how I have been working for so many years. So coming into Blender, when you hit F, it does a fill. So if you have a hole in the mesh, it'll just fill that hole. And then they had period for if you want to view a selected. So if you want to zoom in and focus on a selected, Well, you can go into here and change, you know, your keys. So again, you can go in here and change all your key interactions, whatever hotkey you want it to be, you can change it. So everything that was a period, I changed to F, and everything that was F being fill, I changed to a control F. So I can still keep the F, but just adding the control F will help me remember that's just a fill, and I can still have the ability to focus. So that's where you do that key maps. So you set your key maps there, and that's a little more advanced past the beginner. But if you are coming from a different 3D software package, that might be useful for you. So I just want to put that in there. And I think we pretty much covered most of everything I did want to cover in this video. Let me hop out of this scene. So again, I hope this was helpful for you. I mean, this is the beginner course for beginners, of course, to Blender, and how to navigate around the scene. I couldn't emphasize more. Practice. Just practice navigating around your scene. Go into the view menu settings and just click things and see what happens. Really just break stuff. Try to break stuff, but really get in there, navigate your scene, create some objects, and have fun. More than anything, just have fun. But I promise you, the more you do it, it'll become second nature, where you're not even thinking about it. It's like breathing. You're not thinking about it, you're just interacting. And that kind of alludes back to what I was saying before. I was working in Maya before. Certain things became second nature, like breathing. So coming into a new 3D package can be intimidating because the way you work has changed. So now you have to think where things are and what keys to press when it was second nature at one time. So again, I hope this was helpful for you. Give this video a like, thumbs up, whatever you have to do. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you for all your time. Later, y'all. Peace.